Hey guys, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Week number 3. I'm doing 14 weeks. Look at that for a storm. Been some weather the last couple of weeks, hasn't it? So, I want to talk to you about the elephant in the room, and that is variations, and how variations happen, and how they escalate, and how they get out of proportion. And it's often blamed on the builder, and very obviously so, but there can be a background and a context to this, and it may come from design, may come from over elaborate design, it may come from misdesign, it may come from expensive materials that if there's additional work it's going to cost more. May come from misinformation, may come from misalignment of information from the engineer and the architect. It may come from the quantity surveyor missing something. So on any given project, the reality is you could have 600-700 items going into a construction of a house, and the reality is the quantity surveyor will miss something. That's why the specifications and the drawings are tied into the contract. So it's not just the responsibility of the quantity surveyor. That is why you also have the right choice of contract also protects the homeowners in these situations, because if it's in the drawings and specifications and not in the bill of quantities, then it's on the builders. The builder is best suited to carry the risk is actually one of the phrases in the contract. So it's all on them. So the variations can be from design, lack of design, human error. They can also be around culture. If there's an abrasive culture on site, if there is conflict on site, you can be rest assured that the variations are going to be hard and fast. The variations will take a different size and shape. If the quantity surveyor works for the builder directly as an employee, they will be more aggressive. They will be more aggressive as well if that quantity surveyor has no contact with the homeowner and is just sitting at a desk going commando, sending out items. I'm doing one job at the moment, and the job is ground to a halt because of this behaviour, which is what it is. It's very sad, but there is an etiology to this, there is an origin to this, there is a strategic disposition of maybe not that construction company, but certainly that quantity surveyor. So it's multi-layered. There's also the manner in which the bill of quantities is done. If you don't know work, then you can signal out work if you don't know what underpinning is going to be, but you sense that the boundary wall's going up, the new wall's going up against the boundary wall. You can certainly then put in a rate for underpinning. You can get detailed schedules of rates for electrics and plumbing and mechanical. So you want your bill of quantities as a homeowner to be as robust as possible. The benefit of a bill of quantities is that the homeowner can compare apples against apples at tender stage, but then also by having a bill of quantities done by a quantity surveyor, you've also got rates that you can then use for the variations and compare them against. Construction knowledge is also an important one. I have a variation that's claiming for a complete wall, and for the homeowners didn't employ me at the start. I came on later, and now I'm looking at credit for the rest of the wall that would have been built anyway, and it's a substantial amount. So you may be looking at a claim of 20 grand and I can certainly see right away there's a 14 grand credit due back to the homeowner. So right there, that fully justifies a whole set of fees. So the multi-layeredness of this is colossal. For me, a huge amount of it is the culture. The quantity surveyor works for the client, gets on well with the builder, and has a sustained relationship with him over multiple projects and has trust over multiple projects, then there's less chance of that builder being aggressive, because he will not look at the project as a singular item. He will look at it as an income flow over the next 10-12 years by getting on well with the architect or with the quantity surveyor for the homeowner. He'll know that he has a chance to tender more, and one project will lead to another, or a possibility of another, as they need continuous cash flow and projects. So it's not just short-term relationships. The homeowner signalling goes a long way. Hyper-aggressiveness will be met with hyper-aggressiveness. Softness will be met with softness. I usually find humour is met with humour, and so everybody has their own subjective manner in which they actually on-site people, negotiate with people, interlock with people, hold them present, hold them accountable. And it's about honour, and it's about decency, and it's about respect. And if those things are given to a builder, you will find in the long run, in most cases, their variations will be reasonable. They are going to happen. There's always unforeseen things. So what happens when it actually does happen? What do we do when variations occur? We analyse them against the rates in the bill of quantity, and that's the important to have a very detailed bill of quantity. You know what to expect. We then compare it. If there isn't something of that nature, then you compare it against something of a similar nature, and the contract allows for that. And if that isn't possible, which it usually is, then you compare it against standard work in the current marketplace. So there's an analytical format to it, but for me certainly the human factor is huge importance. Very hard for guys, and guys will chance their luck, and then there's guys who are really good guys and all of a sudden can get very aggressive with, and usually the builder is a guy, but it's sometimes you may have a good solid relationship, good bill of quantities, good design, everything's aligned, and the builder is uberly aggressive. And that's because you never know his financial situation. You must do an analysis to see his liquidation status. Is he solvent? Has he gone liquidated soon? I would even recommend this mid-project as well to recheck. To be totally honest with you, I certainly would. And then after you do that, you then need to know his financial status. And if he's underneath ferocious struggling pain, then what you'll find is he'll start asking for more payments. He'll start asking for deposits. He'll start asking for items up front. He'll change the monthly payment schedule into bi-weekly. You'll start to see that he won't be giving you receipts when you ask them for alignment of costs. And in that stage, you just have to counterbalance. Just look for information. And the first set of valuations when they come in is usually how the project's going to go. And if they load up the first frame of valuations then you know that this is the way it's going to go. And you have to fight that tooth and nail, and you don't have to agree it. And you can even stack variations if you want until the very end of the project. It's not necessarily within the remit of the contract to do so, but strategically you can. And personally, I just think it's easier to agree the variations and move on. I think manoeuvring around it only going to cause struggle, only going to put the contractor in financial woe, only going to irritate them, and then they'll come out aggressive. So there's structural elements to this. There is philosophical elements, there's strategic elements, and there is design elements. And all of these factors need to be controlled, implemented, analysed, structured at different times. Variations will happen, but if you have a system, then you have containment within that system. Thanks, guys. Talk to you.